Howdy folks, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the new tool that I introduced, and I want to do it in English because I want to introduce it worldwide. So I do this whole talk in English. I told you about the whole stock thing. Here I have a little paper, where I wrote it down. I explained a little bit earlier in earlier movies, but I'm going to show you the results of my first analysis of how it would work, and to explain a little bit. I have still doing some research about it, if it's a good indicator, yes or no. I get the impression it may be a very well indicator of how the stock may be moving. Remember that the stocks are just, and we're going to see it in a moment, it's just a statistical movement. You can compare it to the Brownian motion of particles in the air, and stuff like that. But also it's a statistical, you can treat it as a statistical phenomenon. And that's what I'm basically doing, and based on that I constructed this tool, and well, let's investigate how it works, and what the strengths are and what the weaknesses of this instrument may be. So it's in an investigation phase right now, and well, let's see what we can do with it. Nonetheless, I introduce it, and well, let's see and find out what it's going to do. Okay, for that I'm going to move again to the stock that we're investigating, and here it is. One moment please. Yeah, bingo. This is still the KPN, Royal KPN. It's a Dutch company, telephone company, and it's of old. Well, this is the from 1830 hours to what is it, 1700 hours, or 5 till 7:30. Well, the time actually doesn't match, because normally this is the last moment of last Friday, and actually normally it would be 17:30 or 35 that it really stops. So I don't know why it added 1 hour extra, but okay, for the analysis it's not important right now. Okay, this is the stock. So you see inclination, and then a little going down, and then stabilizing again, and a little this is a little decline, sorry, and this is a little incline, a small incline, small raising again. So let's see at the pictures of it. Well, what you here see is what I did is I took these numbers in between 6:30 and 6 o'clock and 6:30, according to this, which is actually 5 o'clock and 5:30, but okay, it indicates here 6 and 6:30. So let's take 6 and 6:30. That makes it easier. It doesn't matter for the analysis anyhow. So so from 6 to 6:30. I took the numbers, the individual numbers, and these are by minute. Every point is a minute. So I took them. I made a histogram of it, and this is the histogram. Just a small picture. I tried to get it smaller, but it didn't work out. So this is a picture of the histogram of this portion of the peak, and it's not entirely symmetric. As you can see, there's a little tailing in the peak, and this is what I saw is that whenever a slope is going down, a slope is going up, it's always tailing. It's only rare that you will have a symmetrical peak, but this is slightly, it's approaching a symmetrical peak, but not entirely. So it's a little skewed to the left. Next one. Well, this one, as you can see, it's from 1745 to 1815, which is exactly in between here, 1745 and 615. So it's at the right spot. These numbers, these numbers are worked out in a histogram, and what you see is a very skewed peak, a very skewed data set, and it's skewed to the left. This is also skewed to the left, but very well, not too much. It's almost symmetrical, and that is what you also expect if it's moving almost horizontally. That's what you expect also. But here it's a little declining. Here is it slightly increasing, but you see that very much in even it's slightly increasing. You see a skewedness in the peak, but here it's more strongly declining. So what you see is a more stronger skewedness of the bell curve. We go to the third one, and that's this one. Well, here, as you can see, also from here in between this is from 7:30 to 6 o'clock. So that's this part, this portion here. But here you see it makes the turn from inclining and it's bending here. This is a bending moment, and so it's going down here. So, and this is actually on the top of the bending moment. This goes from what is it? Let's put it over here. From 6:30, which is here, 6:30 to 6 o'clock, which is well, it's a little bit like this. So here, this is the range in which this graph is spread, and you see it's right on top of where it's bending, where it's pivoting. There's a pivot point, and apparently, and which also makes sense. I mean, you have a pivot point in this area here. You have both parties going down and going up, and yeah, that is, you can see that apparently when it's symmetrical distributed, then you are most probably on a pivot point. Apparently, there is a bending point. Over here, which is 7:15 to 17:45, which is indeed in this area, as you could have seen. Then you see here a strong inclination, and what you also can see is two kind of it's as if there are two peaks in it, and which makes sense because you go from one level to another level, so that's what you expect. Here you can see it a little slightly moving horizontal piece, and then it's inclining, and then this is the horizontal piece, and then it goes to incline. So that's what you expect. Two different peaks: a low level peak, which is this one, and a higher level peak, which is this one. Yeah. And then finally, at least in this analysis, you see a strong inclining range, and so what you get is a kind of an even distribution, slightly skewed. It's skewed to the right side, but since it's all inclining, you don't get a clear. You don't get one peak. It's all evenly distributed all over the range. So, but it's a slightly skewed to the right, but it's inclining. So you expect a whole range of values that are more evenly distributed, and not one peak. And this is exactly what you expect with this kind of movement of the stock. So yeah, here you can see the whole range of in just a small piece. This is what is it, from 5 o'clock till 6:30. But you can do this also on a different level, on day level, hour level, day level, week level, month level, or annual level. You can see the same type of patterns on different levels. So this tool you can use on every kind of level, ranging from minutes, because every point here is a minute, but you can also do it from if it's a day, or if it's a week, or if it's a month. I mean, the patterns remain the same. That's what I meant with the Mandelbrot principle, that the same pattern you see over and over again. It doesn't matter on which time scale. And so yes, this may be a very good tool to use to see what a stock is going to do. Is it inclining, and does it give such a pattern? Is it bending? Does it show an even distribution and gives a bend, or is it skewed distributed? Or is it going to stabilize? This may be a stabilizing pattern from one peak to another peak. So you may use it as an indicator of what a stock may be about to do. So I hope you understand. I will show you how I constructed these peaks, and thereto we go to Excel. Okay. And basically what I did is, I did it here. What I did, these are the real numbers. And I took them from every minute that I could have taken in the last 1.5 hours. Of course, you have to automate. You have to write a computer program to make it much more fast. I mean, if you have to do this all by hand, it takes you hours and hours of work, which is not interesting. But if you can automate it in a program, then this would be more handy to do. What I did is I note every minute the stock changed in value. What I did is I copied the half an hour, and I copied it over here. And what I also did, let's do this away. I took in half an hour. This half an hour. I copied it. Copy. Paste all the numbers. And what I also did at the same time is sort and filter. So I sorted it from low to high, van laag naar hoog. It's in Dutch, sorry folks, but that's the reason. That's what it is. Van laag naar hoog, or from low to high. You learn Dutch here as well as dealing with. Okay, selection, spreading out the selection, no, or continue with the present selection. Continue with the present selection and sort. What you can do, and then you sort it from low to high. The numbers, and then just a matter of counting. So 3008 is one time, 309 is 3 times, 3010 is 13 times, as you can see here. So you write down 13 times here. 3011 is, what is it? 9 times. So you put in 9 times here. 3012 is 2 times, you put in 2 times, and 3013 is 3 times. And then what you basically do is you construct a graph. Well, let's pretend that I didn't have that graph. Well, and take this one, insert, spreading, and here you have the graph. That's basically how you do it. Ooh, let's put them down there. And what I did then is remove this one so I have more oversight. And what I then did is add a trend line. And now you have, this is a linear trend line, but you can also do some other trend lines. I prefer to do a polynomial and put the equation and the r squared into it. Well, as you can see, it's clearly not a parabola. This is a second order polynomial, but it's clearly not a parabola. Now this is a third order polynomial, and it's, well, not that it doesn't show a very similarity. So we're going higher. Well, here there's some similarity starts to come, and if you take it is a fourth order polynomial. Here says a fourth order polynomial. If I do a fifth order polynomial, then that's what I used. A sixth order polynomial will not help that much. No, it doesn't. So I took a fifth order polynomial, and what I did is take a picture of this, and that's the picture that you saw. I moved this one to here, downstairs. But that's the whole thing, basically. So, and I took a picture from it. That's the picture that you saw. Now you know how I constructed all these individual things. I wrote here the frequency. Here the frequency from 6 o'clock to 6:35, because the AEX index stopped at 6:35. And with the last stock value of 3.013, and that's a half an hour approx. Let's say half an hour. And what I did is the second this picture, I shifted the whole construction just 15 minutes. So what I did is did the same trick, but then 15 minutes earlier in time, because this is the last one. Going down is going back in time. So I shifted this whole procedure just 15 minutes. So I started here and then 30 minutes below. You can see that 6 to 6:30, and here from 17:45 to 6:15. So I shifted the whole thing 15 minutes. You can make it, of course, you can also do it for an hour and shift it in 10 minutes, or do it an hour and shift it half an hour. That's up to you. But I chose taking 30 measurements and then shift it every time 15 minutes. That's what for the first experimental thing, I chose this rate. But you can change that thing. You can change it. For example, you can take an hour here from 35 to or 45 minutes. You can also do that. 45 minutes and then shift it every time 15 minutes. Whatever you like. That's up to you. And what is going to be a good tool? I mean, that's the goal, to have a good tool. That's how I constructed, and that's how I constructed these pictures with all these graphs as well. Let's put them back. So this is how I came up with all these pictures. And yes, I think that once you get the hang of it and you study these graphs, what they can mean, and you can interpret them, then you have a valuable tool as well. It's just a histographic way of treating your stocks. You can treat your stocks as a statistical fluctuation, and in this way, what you do is construct a histograph of your stock movements, and yeah, you can play a little with it, and this may be a valuable tool as well. Okay, one moment. Yep, here I am again. Ooh, the light starts to okay, yeah, go back to. Well, thanks for watching. This is I worked it out a little bit. The theoretical stuff, I worked it out in a practical thing. So who knows what I have to still investigate what the strengths and the weaknesses are of this model or this tool. It's still in an experimental phase. So I hope it will work as a good tool, and using statistics as a tool for which basically all these tools are for in the trading in the stock trading industry. These are just mathematical statistical based tools. Okay, this is what I wanted to share with you. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.